Welcome, Queen. Have you ever found yourself explaining the same thing over and over and over again to someone who seemed like they just didn't get it? They just didn't understand. And eventually you found yourself thinking, just maybe, I am not explaining this right. And now you're giving a whole dissertation when the original conversation should have taken 5 minutes. But what if the problem isn't that they don't understand you? What if they actually do understand you and they understand you perfectly? Here's the thing. You could be explaining why something bothered you, why something upset you, why something caught you off guard, what you actually meant in a previous conversation, why you set a specific boundary for the relationship that you have with them, what you need in the relationship with them, or simply why something that happened was not okay. And every time they push back, you find yourself giving more explanation. You start adding details they didn't even ask you for. You start defending your intentions. You start explaining your character. You start trying to prove that your feelings are actually reasonable. And now suddenly you are no longer having the original conversation. And I know you may be saying, Sam, if I don't explain it, how are they supposed to understand? And that right there is the exact objection I want and need you to address. Because sometimes people really, genuinely do not understand what we are saying to them, what we are trying to explain to them. But on the other hand, at the point your explanations become convincing, that's no longer someone who does not understand. You see, you don't have to assume that I'm saying people have bad intentions. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that there is a distinction on or with someone who truly needs clarification and someone who just isn't open to your explanation. So what I am saying is it's time to stop explaining in such a way that you are explaining yourself to the point that it comes across you are trying to get them to agree with you. Because after you have stated what clearly happened, what you think about it, what you need, and what your boundary is, more words do not automatically create understanding. Sometimes more words just create more information to be understood within or in that conversation. And that does not bring or result in clarity for or to that person. That often, in most instances, takes the conversation further away from your original intentions and creates a situation that keeps you in frustration. So here is a reflective question for you to consider. Ask yourself, am I truly trying to communicate, or am I trying to convince them with my communication? So you are not asking, how do I become or be a better communicator? You are asking, what am I doing right now in this conversation? It's about being self-aware and about using and stewarding your voice well and with intention. And I had to learn this myself because I love to give details. And there was a situation where I was having a conversation, and this was through text message. And after I wrote the text message, I could see how long it was, but I sent it anyway. And while I got a response back, it wasn't the response I expected. And on the back end, when I actually spoke to this person face to face, what was shared with me was this. It's not until after I've had time to really sit with and think about what you said that I realize and recognize that you don't have bad intentions. But in real time, I don't see that, because it can be a lot. You get that? It can be a lot, meaning how much I'm saying and sharing in the conversation. It was a lot for that person to take in. And so I share with you from personal experience that there are times where we're saying so much that the focal point of what we truly want and need that person to hear and to understand can get lost if we just keep on giving more and more and more explanation and more and more and more details. So I share with you, just like I had to learn, there are times where we've said and we've communicated and we've had enough information in that conversation with that person and shared it with that person in such a way that we're done. We have done our part to communicate and have that conversation go well. At that point, it is now on us to take that opportunity to pause and wait and perceive and discern what is happening next or what should be happening next. Because we need to be paying attention to the next part of the process in the conversation with that person, whoever they may be, whether it's personally or professionally. So, Queen, the next time you find yourself continuously responding to the same thing or saying the same thing, you're just explaining. I mean, you've explained it 3, 4, 5, 6. No, when you find yourself in that place, pause, stop for a moment, and do not automatically assume that you are being a bad communicator, that your words and your messaging and what you are sharing is unclear. Don't automatically assume that about yourself. Ask yourself this question: is this person truly misunderstanding me, or is this person simply disagreeing with me? Am I clarifying what I've shared in this conversation, or am I trying to convince this person of what I have shared in this conversation? And I also invite you to ask yourself this: what am I trying to accomplish by continuing to explain myself in this conversation? So if you are sitting here and you are recognizing, you know what, Sam, I do that in conversations. I over-explain, or I continuously re-explain. I think that I'm bad at communicating what I'm trying to share. I want you to pay attention to that when you are doing that. And I also want you to know, if you are experiencing that, I work with women who are challenged with that particular situation, constantly feeling the need to over-explain themselves. Not just what's said in the conversation, but also equipping them to recognize and understand when the conversation has shifted and how they showed up when the conversation shifted. So if you recognize yourself as someone who does over-explain, I invite you to book a strategy call with me. The link is in the description below. And together, let's actually figure out what's happening in your conversations, because you can have conversations without over-explanation. As always, I'm CESAM telling you that 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you can change your life. So go ahead and do something life-changing now.